Are we the variation generation? It's got kind of a ring to it. Why are we so addicted to parallels and variations of cards? Let's talk about this. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. Another day, another card video. How is everybody doing? Hope everyone has had a great weekend. I'm excited to tackle this particular topic. I've been thinking about it, kind of stewing on this, brewing it, stirring it for the last few days, and I thought I'm going to bring this to you. This is what we do. We bring kind of the topics to the table, and then we dig it in the comments. I like to get your feedback, and we go from there. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, the big red button down below. We are almost to 16,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for all of your support. Also, the like button if you like what you hear, and don't forget to tap the notification bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. I'm also on IG. I know what you're thinking. You're too old to be on IG, and you're right, but I'm still on it at Sports Card Dad. I'm also on Twitter, the Sports Card Dad. Also, don't forget to check out Card Shop Live. We have a giveaway, 2 winners, $50 each, cash to use on the app. I'm going to have all the links in the comment section pinned, and then also in the video description to go and check that out. Don't forget to sign up for Card Shop Live. What happened to us? What happened to us in our childhood 30, 40 years ago, whatever it was?
One shall stand, one shall fall. Why throw away your life so recklessly?
That got us stuck on the shiny parallel stuff that these companies keep on coming out with, and we just keep taking it. Bait, hook, sinker, hook. Anyway, you know what I mean. We're taking the bait. We are taking the bait, and you know what? I was just thinking about this. I'm like, you know what? This is most certainly a thing. It's a commercialized thing. The commercials got us going. I was looking back, like, let's go back to kind of like my childhood. What was I into? Okay, Masters of the Universe.
He-Man, Mossman, Skeletor, and Triclops figures, each sold separately.
A lot of kids my age were. I was born in 81. Masters of the Universe action figures, and of course you had the show, the TV show. They'll never have a show that cool again, probably ever, on Saturday morning cartoons.
Silence, you furry fool! I've had it with your whining and bumbling.
It was so cool that I actually recently picked up an original Panther that I had when I was a kid, still in the box, 1982. But if you look at the He-Man guys, one thing, they were constructed all the same. The design was the same. It's like these huge bodybuilder, looking figurines, these action figures, but they're all the same. They're all uniform, except they're variations of one another. You've got He-Man, obviously. You've got like Dark He-Man, or kind of like Evil He-Man, I think was one of them. Adam just by himself is one of them. You've got all these different variations, but the bodies, even for like the other characters, it's all the same. So there's uniformity to it, but there's just variations. And again, this came out in 1982. So this is early on. This is kind of the first commercialized stuff. Star Wars, G.I. Joe action figures, same sort of story. It's the same size. They're 3-4 inch figurines, and they did this. Of course, they're different characters, so they look different, but there's a uniformity to it. So it's kind of like a base card with parallels, going all the way back to the 80s. Cabbage Patch Dolls, all the rage in the, 83, 84, 85 is when they came out, something like that.
They don't do much of anything, but they have upset the supply and demand cycle to an astonishing degree. There has never been such a first-year demand for a new doll. As far as I'm concerned, they're the worst-looking things I've ever seen. I mean, they are pathetic-looking, they're homely.
I don't know what exactly the attachment is. I think they're cute, but kind of funny looking.
Pretty much all look the same basic doll, but then they've got variations of them, parallels, if you will. Care Bears, perfect example. They look exactly the same, different colors, different powers. Care Bears. Also, modern comic books. If you look at like what do people chase on the modern comic book side, variant covers. So you have like the issue that comes out, and then there's only a few of these variant covers that are going to be at your local comic book store. So you have all these people that are buying subscriptions to comic books, and then if they're good customers of the LCS, they get lucky, they get one of the special variant covers. That's a limited edition. It's rare. It's a parallel, if you will. So this kind of tells me, my takeaway is this has been ingrained in our minds for decade. It all started in the 80s. It's been going back. It was ingrained into our heads, and the 90s for those that might be a little bit younger than me. But that is really when this mass commercialized stuff, merchandise started coming out. And maybe there was some stuff in the 70s. I just don't remember. I know Star Wars was kind of late 70s, those action figures. But yeah, I think you get my point. It was Thundercats and He-Man and G.I. Joe, and all the 80s were just riddled with all this stuff. So these companies have basically figured out that we are just basic creatures that are just interested in shiny stuff. Like a cat chases like a shiny ring or something like that. Sort of kidding, but not really. We've basically been trained this way. And now, of course, you add scarcity, rarity to the mix. It's different, though. If you think back, we have to be careful. And I think in the same way that we had to be careful 30 years ago in 1992. Was that 30 years ago? 30 years ago in 1992, roughly. We were all stacking 92 Fleer Ultra Shaq rookies. If you could get them, it was like, oh man, you got a Shaq rookie. Hold on to that. That's going to be worth something in the long run. That sort of idea. But now what's happened is there's almost kind of like a Trojan horse coming through the gates, and it's parallels, inserts, etc., all the stuff, all the shiny numbered stuff, because in your brain, you're thinking like it's numbered, so that means that it's rare. But like we've talked about with some of these new products over the last couple of years, is you're seeing 50 different parallels, 60 different parallels, and then you've got inserts, and then you've got a 400 card checklist, and then you've got all the variations that go down the list. It just makes it so that nothing is really that rare or scarce. But we've been trained to think that it is. We've been trained to think that if it's a numbered card, even if it's a lower numbered card, a lot of the focus is on golds because it's numbered out of 5 or it's numbered out of 10. And I get that. But even the golds, there's 5 different variations of gold. There's a bunch of different 101s. There's all sorts of stuff. So the one thing that my big kind of takeaway again is I think we have to be careful. I don't want to be looking back 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And that was kind of the fad of the day. That was like, oh man, remember when they had all these numbered cards, but nothing was really that rare. And now we're seeing it, down the road, we're seeing it, but we're caught up in the mix of it right now, so we don't really see it. And I'm just wondering if that is what we're going to view this as later on, and so that's kind of my takeaway. It's not to say that like all numbered cards are worthless and this and that. That's not what I'm saying, but it's going to depend a ton on the player. But even if it's the right player, even if you pick the next Michael Jordan or whatever, the guy's got a zillion different rookies with a zillion different parallels. So you're getting into that in the same fashion that Larry Johnson rookie cards and Shaq rookie cards, Harold Miner, Baby Jordan rookie cards, blast from the past, in those early 90s, Calvert Chaney, all those kind of chase rookie cards, they just printed them. They didn't have a bunch of variations and parallels, but they just printed a zillion of those. So now you've got, maybe they're printing less than they did in 1992, but you've just got so many variations, it just gets washed out. So anyway, I'm curious to what you all think about kind of this new era that we're in, because I'm not saying that this is for all of like if we're looking at Prism products, Prism products really from 2012 to 2015, maybe 16, it wasn't, the card market was not as popular, nowhere near as popular. Prism almost stopped making, or Panini almost stopped making Prism after 2012. It didn't sell well, so I mean the whole idea of like 2012 to 2015 or 16 probably okay as far as the number of parallels. Now you have to pick the players and all that, but once we start getting into these later years, a lot of people reference the 2018 year with Luka, Trey being kind of the beginning of that huge splurge on parallels. And I can see that. I think there's 30 or 35 different parallels in 2018. So there's not a shortage. And that's just Prism. That's just Panini Prism stuff. So I think that that's something that we just have to keep in mind. Now, if you're collecting, again, you've got disposable income, you're not worried about the values and this doesn't pertain to you. But for those that maybe care a little bit about it, or you're just like, hey, I'm spending a lot of money collecting right now. It's even if you're not really concerned about future value, if it's not investment to you or whatever, you still are spending a lot of money on the stuff. So it's kind of like, do I want to spend a lot of money now or maybe wait a little bit for this stuff to cool off and then check back? Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this all started back in the 80s like I do? Or is this just a conspiracy theory that it has no merit whatsoever? Let me know in the comments below, and definitely check out Card Shop Live. Don't forget that. Stay healthy, stay awesome. I will talk to you again later.